All right, guys, I've got 1 minute after. Let's get started. Uh, I guess a good afternoon or good evening to you all in Pakistan. This is the April town hall. Let's jump right in. With whenever we do this, we start with kind of the vision, what we're all about, and kind of sharing thoughts around the progress, right? So we're all about powering ideas, and we've had a phenomenal quarter one, where our revenue keeps increasing. We keep selling more work. We keep adding more people. We're approaching 40 headcount. So as an organization, we continue to do really, really well. And like any growing organization, we have some growing pains that we'll talk about also, and be very, very transparent. But overall, we're doing really, really well. So let's start with where we typically start with our flywheel. Our goal is to amaze clients, and we've been doing that over and over and over again. And if you think about our biggest client and the work that we do with Med2Go, with Hassan's leadership, and then Ahmed's support on the technology side, Rabia and his team on the UX and marketing side, we continue to grow that account, and it's our biggest account and doing some amazing work there. And the strategy of doing great work leads to more work, right? I sometimes joke that no good deed goes unpunished. When people do good work, they get more work, right? So that happens to you all individually, and it happens to us organizationally. And so on that front, Hasib has done some amazing work with the support of Ahmed and Wali, with a crypto client. And so those that are following, the craziness on the crypto space, how blockchain, et cetera, is really, really taking off. We have a client that basically is building out a crypto wallet. It's got a unique wallet value proposition. And Hasib with Ahmed and Wali have did some amazing work on their website, and that client then basically decided to give us a pretty massive contract off the back of it. Um, and we're hiring a series of Python programmers and Flutter programmers also. So we started on a website, and then we've moved on to delivering other services. And so fundamentally, it's all about pleasing and amazing our client. We talked about in December when I was in Pakistan about evoking the feeling of bellissimo, the Italian word for beautiful, right? That when you deliver something to a client and the client's like, wow, that's amazing. And when we do that, we basically will add more value, and we're going to increase what we do for the client, right? And then this leads to adding capacity, right? So if you think about the work that Hasib did with the crypto client, right? We suddenly sold more work, and we have to add capacity. So that's where John Zabe and his team come in, and they've been doing some really, really good work in terms of recruiting, right? And hiring people and assessing people. Now, it's this constant struggle to find good, talented people, assess them, and bring them in. And so there's this constant pressure on John Zabe, poor John Zabe, to keep hiring faster and faster, right? And we have to recruit and we have to train people. And on the training front, we're going to spend a bit of time. I wanted to take some time today to train you all on a couple of things from my end on how we can help you all grow. And our goal over the year is to formalize our training programs, et cetera. So we're more and more, we can help you all grow. So it's not just about bringing good people, it's also about bringing good people and training our people, right? So that we can continue to grow our talent and we can grow as an organization. And then eventually this leads to marketing and acquisition, right? That if we can amaze our people, we can acquire more clients. We can also figure out a way to acquire new clients. And we're thinking through all of those strategies. I've had like 10 plus sales calls over the last 2 months, and we're thinking through all of that. And then the last part is measuring and controlling, right? This is where Humna is doing some amazing work to make sure that our finances are in order. And we do have a hiccup here that I'll talk about in a bit. And Fahad is supporting her, right, in terms of digitizing our business. I've heard loud and clear how from you all, the fact that you have to enter Microsoft Teams messages and Hub staff, all of that. We want to fix all of that. We want to clean it. We want to automate or digitize our business processes so that we can grow better. I sometimes joke with Humna that, whenever I ask for a report, right? Let's say that I want to see a report of total revenue by each one of our leaders, by Hassan, by Ahmed, by Yasser, by others. It's an act of God to get that report right now, right? And we want to smoothen out all of that, and that's where measuring and controlling comes in. And that's why we stay after you all to submit your time and your timesheets on time, if you will, so that all of this we can measure and control our business. And as we grow, we have to collect money, right, from our clients, and that can fund the growth further. So this is kind of the approach that we take. It's a solid approach, more or less 80-90% of it works. And it's leading to all the growth, right? That over the last year and a half, we've now grown to almost 40 people. What are we going to end in this year versus next year? So moving from here, let's talk about our culture, right? Our values. And it starts, and I've highlighted a few words that I wanted to touch upon, right? It's about adding value, right? That we've already touched upon here, that for all of your clients, how are you adding value? For all the work that you're doing, are your stakeholders happy with you? Are they excited by the work that you're doing? Are you adding that value? Are you inspiring them, right? Through your ideas. That's the key, right? Every day, are you doing that? And then from there, it's all about our people, right? It's about diversity of ideas. So as an example, I'll pick on some stuff that we've worked with John Zabe, right? Everyone's got different ideas. John Zabe has a set of ideas. Ahmed has a set of ideas. I have a set of ideas. And when we're talking about recruiting, the idea is to try all ideas and not to be passionate about, only Salah's way, only Jahan Zabe's way, only Ahmed's way. The goal here is to try and to test. So let's try Jahan Zabe's way. Let's try Ahmed's way. Let's try Salah's way. And after a month, see what works. Who cares if Ahmed was wrong or Salah was wrong or Jahan Zabe was wrong? It doesn't matter, right? We've talked a lot about in this setting and on my one-on-ones with you, where we tolerate failure, right? If anybody gives any of you a hard time about failure, all you have to do is come to me and I will take care of it. Nobody needs to be screamed upon. Nobody needs to be given a bad time about failure, right? It's okay to fail, right? And you have a direct line to me. Just call me up and say, hey, listen, I screwed up and somebody gave me a hard time. Nobody's going to give you a hard time about failure. It's about learning those lessons, right? And back to the point here, that if you think about diversity of ideas, it's not about one person's way. It's about everyone's ideas, implementing them. And the ideas that fail, okay, who cares if they failed? And if they work, whether it was John Zabe's idea or Ahmed's idea or Salah's idea, who cares, right? It works, double down on it, right? And that's the whole point about diversity of ideas, right? So think about that. Bring your ideas to the table. Let's implement them, right? I've spent a lot of time with the business development team, Amir and the team there that are doing some amazing work. And it's about implementing those ideas, right? And that's directly linked to the performance culture aspect, right? That all we care about is performance, right? We don't care about failure. We don't care about possession of ideas. We care about performance. And then this is linked to value, right? And it's linked to inspire and excite. So if we can perform and we can add value and we can inspire and we can excite, that's what our focus is. And then from here, we have to grow and win, right? And we're going to shift, right? Our leaders, right? All of our leaders have to help scale our organization. And we're going to groom the next set of leaders from you all to become leaders. And from there, you can help us grow. So every quarter, we'll do an assessment on, hey, what did leadership team do to help sell? What we did to grow the organization. And we're going to measure that, right? Where we look at managed revenue, we look at sales. Every quarter we can do that, and then we can appropriately incentivize our people. If somebody helped sell something, then they need to be rewarded for that. So think about individually how you all can help sell. And from there, we have to, selling is going to be really, really critical here, right? As we grow, we have to be able to sell a lot more, right? We were an organization of $225,000 in revenue last year. Our target is to reach $750 this year. And that's a lot of selling. So not only will the leadership team have to sell, but all of you will have to sell. And how do you play a role in that? I was talking to Mariam. She's helping with us on our website, and we're going to spend a little bit of time on the website here today also. And, from that perspective, how do you all show and communicate the work you're doing, right? Like Asma is building out the UX framework, right, with Rabia and others. How do we blog about it? So the point I was talking to Mariam about on the website is that every one of you need to publish 1 or 2 blogs this year, each one of you. And don't worry about your English, right? Write whatever you can write. We'll help you. You can ask your friends to help you with your English because communication is a lifelong journey, right? I communicate better today than I did 2 years ago. And I've been at it for 20 years. I know 2 years from today, I'll be communicating even better. So all of us need to help, show our work on the blog and publish that work. And, we're going to help sell more through our blog, etc. And then, I wanted to touch upon discipline, right? That overall, we want to be a very disciplined organization, right? Almost if I had to stereotype, right? Uncharacteristically Pakistani, right? Which is the opposite of what this Pakistani stereotype is, right? We have to be super, super disciplined. And we have to be better and better at being disciplined, right? So as an example, we had a screw up last week, right? With your pay. And so we weren't disciplined. And I take responsibility for that as the CEO. I screwed up one transaction, then I did 2 more transactions, and we still couldn't get the pay in time. And it stuck with the security people somewhere in Karachi or somewhere. And right now we've sent 2 wires, right? Hoping to have gotten it under the time, and we messed up. So we lost discipline, and I lost discipline, right? And we have to be better about that. And we're going to make it up to you. We'll give you some extra, and we'll make sure that this doesn't happen again. So this is on me, and apologies for this, and we'll have it fixed. We're literally talking to the bank every day. I've called up Citibank and Bank of America over here to make sure that we can avoid some of these issues going forward. And the work that Yasser does with Bank al-Flah is very critical here. He informed me that, as an example, when I did it from my second bank account in Citibank, it just requires more security checks, and that's where we're stuck. So moving on to the next point here about sharing our success, right? As most of you know, we gave equity to all of you as part of the 2020 year end. There's some new people that have joined. Know that at the end of this year, you're going to get stock options within Declaration. So as we grow, we share our success. And that is a fundamental part of our culture. So wanted to kind of touch upon that. And what's kind of happened over the last year is that we've become an organization that helps other clients design, build, grow, transform. That's our story, right? It's these 4 things: design, build, grow, transform. On the design side, whether it's UX services or designing an application, building, we build websites, we build amazing apps that, Shiroz and Etisham and Shiraz on Ahmed's team have built some amazing web apps and amazing iPhone and Android apps. That's part of the build side. Then grow. More and more, I'm hearing from clients that they're trying to grow, whether it's the traditional marketing or growth hacking, seeing a lot of focus on that from a growth perspective. And then transform is around automation and the business intelligence work that Haseeb and team do. And so we've built a full stack agency. We can sell one service, just like the example that I gave you that Haseeb, Wali, and Emma did with the crypto client. We built one website, right? We undersold it. It was a $3,000-4,000 website. We sold it for $1,500 because we knew we could excite the client. And because we were cheap, if you will, the client loved it, right? And from there, the client's given us a lot more work. So that's our go-to-market strategy. We initially, with clients, go in cheap. We sell them a little. And then from there, we please the hell out of them. And they're like, it's a no-brainer to give them more work because our rates are much more competitive than the rates of people here in the US. And this is exactly the playbook, if you will, that that we're using in other clients where we can replicate this. So Rabia and Ariba, as an example, with a client called Lumi Wealth that does some really good training work, that's exactly what they're doing. We sold them some initial work, and their goal, their target in life is to grow that account. It's like $1,000, $1,500 a month right now, but how will they get it to $3,000, $5,000 a month? And that's what we're trying to do here. All right, I wanted to take the opportunity here to discuss a few different topics, more on your personal growth and your training, right? And what I wanted to do was share something from a book that I've recently come across. The book is called Thinking Fast and Slow. And in that book, basically, it talks about how we think fast and how we think slow. When we think fast, it's system one thinking, it's automatic, it's emotional, it's uncontrolled. Think about when you're driving your bike or your car to the office, or you're in an Uber. In Lahore, it's messy, right? The roads. So it's constantly system one thinking, where somebody cuts you. We've had our colleagues even gotten in accidents, right? So those are all system one reactions, right? So assuming 99% you don't get into an accident, a lot of the system one reactions are off because they're emotional reactions. It makes us feel crappy, and we're just basically just angry. It's negative, and it doesn't require a lot of effort because it's automatic, right? And again, if I was to stereotype us Pakistanis, and trust me, I've suffered from this also, so I'm not judging others, I'm judging myself. It's very easy to have that system one reaction. When I was younger, it was all about like immediate, no effort, boom, react, right? And research shows that 95% of the times that's what we do. But as you get older and as you get mature and wiser and experienced, you will realize that system one is not necessarily good. It's more about slow system two thinking, right? Where it's more effortful, it's more controlled, it's more logical, it's more rational. You deliberate. It's more complex thinking, and it's more conscious, right? Sometimes, when we get into these little fights, whether at work or on a personal front, for those that are married, for those that live with family, right? We get these emotional reactions, right? And whether at work or on the personal front, there's this concept, of, are you willing to die on that hill? In life, we're always on these hills, right? We got to go to this hill, then this hill, then this hill. Those small things, are they worth fighting for? Another way to think about it is, do you want to be successful or do you want to be right? I know for me, when I was younger, it was all about being right. And I would be ready to die on the stupidest, the littlest of hills ever. And then over time, I recognized that, hey, it doesn't matter, right? Let the other person have their way. Who cares? Let it go. And I've talked a lot with our leaders and with some of you also. Play the long game. Who cares if somebody wins that little fight or somebody wins that little hill today? Play the long game. Nudge people into the appropriate way. So I'll give you a very real example, right? If you think about what the business development team at Declaration is doing for our Metigo, which is our leading client, they're literally contacting thousands of doctors and hundreds of hospitals. And they have a client that sometimes isn't very responsive. So it's very frustrating. They're putting their blood, sweat, tears into this work, contacting these thousands of doctors, hundreds of hospitals, and they're not getting a reaction from a client, or not in a timely manner. So from a system one perspective, they're pissed off. It's negative. And it's an appropriate reaction, right? They're working so hard, and they want their work to be recognized, right? Now, they have to kind of coach themselves. Hey, have the system one reaction, but also think about system two. Play the long game. Where will this project be in 3 months, in 6 months, in 12 months? If they constantly do great work and add value, right, the client will recognize it. And day to day, it may not be that good, but over 3 months, 6 months, it's going to be okay. And what's happened on that project is that both Hassan and myself are helping the client understand the value that we provide. Now, if that team was just focused on system one, it would be a very, very negative experience. But I'm hoping that the conversations we've had offline with them, even me mentioning them here in this town hall, they're recognizing that it's a longer game. So the reason I wanted to mention all of this to you is that as you think about your day-to-day, as you think about your activities at Decklaration within the team or with our clients, where is it appropriate to have system one thinking versus, no, wait, hold on, slow down and have system two thinking. And don't expect to change overnight, right? I was a very, very impulsive guy earlier. Many people have heard me talk about, Afridi and Misbah. I was a Shahid Afridi type, right? In my early 20s. And slowly I've become a Misbah type. And it took me, a decade or so to make that transition, right? So just think about how you're going to make some of that transition. And all of you are going to have your own unique journey, right? Some of you might be already good at system two thinking. And some of you are really, good at system one. So how do you make that transition, right? All right. If people are interested in, knowing more about it, you can obviously get the book, or you can watch this video. The person who's come up with this research is a Nobel Prize-winning economist. His name is Daniel Kahneman. It's a great YouTube video. I encourage you all to watch it and, come up with your own thoughts around this. And if you have any thoughts, please drop me a note. Would love to talk to you guys offline about it. All right, next topic on the development front. And I've got two more topics, one this and there's another one, and then we'll open it up for question and answers. So get ready with your questions. Takeaways. Here are two examples of takeaways. This is one example that Hasib sent and another example that Rabia sent, right? What I want every single one of you to do is take notes in every single meeting, right? Look, I've got a pen in my hand and I've got a notebook right here, right? Just in case when you guys have a question, I can write it down. I can have a follow-up, right? And I have a trick where this is a blue thing and I turn it around, it becomes red. Red gives me a little bit of a highlight, right? Take notes in every single meeting, right? Unless you have a photographic memory. And if you do, then you know what, don't worry about it. But if you don't, take notes. And send it immediately after a meeting, especially meetings that you are responsible for, right? You are a key person for. Now, this meeting could be an internal meeting or a client meeting. Everyone appreciates takeaways, key action items. It gives the other people, especially clients, a perspective that, hey, you're listening, right? You're hearing what they're saying. And by the way, there's an off chance that you might have gotten something wrong. By putting it on paper, they have an opportunity to let you know. And you're letting people know the responsibility angle to it, right? That, hey, there were some takeaways here. And don't do too many, 5 to 10. The key big ones, summarize them, right? And the responsibility element's got two parts to it, right? Put a clear ownership, right? So if you look at over here, you're putting in red that Fermin is the client. Fermin, you can't see it, but you get the idea that this is the person's name, and you put a date. Put those two clear action items, right? You have the item, sorry. So you've got the item itself, and then put those two items next to it, right? Which is who's responsible for it, by when. And if you don't know the date, put TBD. It's okay. Or you can say ongoing. But this way, you're holding people accountable. So a week later, when a person misses a date, you can actually hold them accountable, saying, hey, we published this a week ago. If you disagreed with it, you should have disagreed with it then. So there's all these good reasons to do this. You're clearly communicating. You're telling the people that you're listening. You're holding yourself accountable, other people accountable. So I want to see a lot more of this, folks, right? From your internal meetings, right, that you're having, or with client meetings, whether it's on an email, right, or it's on Microsoft Teams. Clearly document takeaways. And this is going to help you grow, right? I mean, even today, I send takeaways, right, to a 20-year career. And this is part of your ongoing journey on how you can hold people accountable. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Sharepoint, right? I know there's many new people here, and some people have been with us for a few months and years. I wanted to kind of share with everyone the benefits of Sharepoint. So first of all, everyone should have access to this. If you don't, you just log into the link over here, click on it, and you'll get access, right? There are three particular areas that I wanted to talk about, which are, there's a folder called the clients folder. right? There's a templates folder, and there's the best of. And I'm going to double click into each one of these. And it's all about knowledge management, right? That if I wanted to hold all the knowledge to myself, then I wouldn't be here growing a team. I wouldn't be sharing everything with you. Everything that I've learned over 20 years, I'm sharing with you. So this is all about knowledge management, all about the great work we do. We share that and we put that into SharePoint, and it's accessible by everyone. Now, obviously, some of these folders are controlled, like the finance folder, just Humna and me, and a few others have it. But other stuff like the client folder should be open. Unless we sign an agreement with the client and it has to be confidential, then we keep it confidential with just the team. But it's all about open sharing here so that we can help everyone grow. So the /clients folder is where you put all the client related material. So if you're working on any client, it shouldn't be on your C drive. It should not be on your personal OneDrive. Just create a client folder here and put everything in a central location. And I'm kind of joking here, sharing and caring, right? Sharing is caring. There's a typo there, I guess. It's about making it easy, right? That everything is online, it's on the cloud, it's accessible. People can just send links versus files. And you put everything on the clients folder. Sometimes you have internal projects, like Fahad is running Project Titan, which is, smoothing out all of our processes. All of that information should be there. Asma's, I said, I was working with Rabi and others on the UX framework, and that's part of a broader thing called the digital delivery framework. We have a separate folder for that. Our client work should all be here. So that's the /client side to things. And then we have /templates, right? Where we have all of our templates. And what you do over here is you basically can leverage these templates. So specifically over here, there's the Microsoft PowerPoint template. It's super easy to use, super fast. And for those that are familiar with, Flash, the superhero, it's Flash speed, right? Take the template. It's got a lot of basics in there, and you're good to go. And what I wanted to do was very quickly demo that to you, right? So when I click on that template, so here you go. So when I click here on this template, this opens up. And this is all the basic templates that you ever need to do anything. And before getting into it, let me just share one thought there. Try not to do editing in the browser. Just go here and say open in desktop. And what happens is that it opens it from the browser and it opens it to the desktop. In the desktop, it's a lot easier. Let me bring it from my other monitor here. In the desktop, it's a lot easier to go through all of the slides and make edits. So you can take this template. It's got basic things in here that can make creating PowerPoints super easy. And what you can do is you can then copy this into whatever client folder or wherever you want to go. And from there, you can basically make it super fast. Let me get back to this. So in the /templates folder, you've got the PowerPoint template, and it's going to make it super fast. And this is what we just kind of discussed. Then you've got the /best of, right? Where I've tried to, over the last month or so, put all of the best material that we've ever created at Decklaration into this folder. I would encourage you all to do the same, right? Esfandiar, as an example, did an amazing job with creating a social media framework, right? Ideally, Esfandiar should put that over here. So whenever you guys are stuck somewhere and you need an idea, this is a great place to steal stuff from. And I really mean steal. Like we can steal stuff from each other and we can leverage. And that's all about the acceleration, right? And just to kind of show you, when you go to SharePoint, so let's say you go to SharePoint and you search for the word social. I'm just testing this. So let's see if this works. I'm working on a client. There's some social stuff there, right? What should I do, right? The client's looking for some ideas, a proposal. I just go here and I can see the latest social. And look, it's actually Esfandiar's, right? Social media. etc. And you can do the same thing for so many other things. Let's say it's growth hacking. You can just type this in and you can actually get all the results on growth hacking. Now, this is part of the knowledge management theme, right? That if all of us put more and more material here, then all of us collectively as an organization, we can kind of grow. So those were kind of the main things that I wanted to talk about, from a training perspective, just to kind of summarize, system 1 versus system 2 thinking, right? Now that you have the knowledge of what a system 1 versus system 2 is, you can react appropriately. Send takeaways from every single meeting, right? Make your presence felt on that, right? By sending the takeaways, and send it right after a meeting. And then the last is basically Sharepoint, right? From a knowledge management perspective. So those are the things that I wanted to share. We'll leave the rest of the time for Q&A. We'll open it up. Questions, thoughts from me? Anybody with any questions or any thoughts?
Hi, Salam. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. So, like we've been talking earlier as well, so I'm working on marketing for BI. And so I was wondering if, since in my emails that I send out, I do attach the link to the website of Declaration and also the LinkedIn page. And so I was also looking onto the Facebook page for Declaration. So I was wondering if we could kind of work on that a little, have the Facebook page running for Declaration and also improve on the LinkedIn page and the website itself, because there are a lot of different logos on all these different platforms. So that might be confusing for the clients or potential clients as well. So maybe if you could think about that.
Yeah, cool. Great point. Mariam's doing some amazing work on updating our website. We had a running start with some of the work that Yasser did earlier, and now Mariam's kind of taking lead on that. And we're gonna put in a process, if the process is already not in place, to weekly blog post, right? And so we should clean up our LinkedIn. We should clean up our Facebook. So if Mariam, you can take this action item to clean those two things up from a logo perspective, just higher level stuff. And then when the process is in place to do a weekly blog post, we should just cross post it on LinkedIn and Facebook should show that activity, right? And we go from there. It makes a ton of sense. Nice idea, Komal.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Anybody else with any questions or thoughts?
Hi. Yes, I do have a question. So basically, we're confused about our Ramzan timing. Generally, the hours are reduced for that. So how's gonna work here? Are we supposed to work 40 hours a week stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've got kind of two perspectives on it, right? I grew up in Saudi Arabia, where in Ramadan, the country would slow down a lot, right? But I've also lived here, where life kind of goes on, right? Regardless of Ramadan. I know when I worked here, the companies I would work for would show flexibility, right? I would come in at 9 and I would leave at 5. Typically, I work 10, 12 hours a day, but in Ramadan, it's more like 8 hours a day. Sometimes I would log in at night, right? I think it's up to you all, right? That you have a set of client responsibilities and you have your own, spiritual responsibilities, right? And so just balance it, right? If you want to come in late, leave early, work at night, sure. If you want to come in really, really early, leave during the middle of the day, put in time extra, it's completely up to you, right? I don't think that any of us want to run a 9 to 5 operation, right? We want to basically be there for our clients and in this time also, right, during Ramadan, and do what you have to do, right? So I would just be, you should be flexible, we should be flexible, and just figure out a way to make it work. And if any of you are having a hard time, that because the client is too demanding or something else is going on, drop me a note and happy to help, you all figure it out. I would just request, flexibility, right? That both from you and from the organization and our leadership, right? That we make it work for everyone. And then obviously Eid is, the Eid holidays, take them off. We should let our clients know that we're off, and that is, 100% off, right? Don't come into work, no work, etc. And we go from there, right? Whenever, does that tackle your question?
No, actually, I was so basically you're saying that we still have to work 40 hours a week. We will not be having any reduced hours because, like in Pakistan, generally other officers they close at 3 a.m. so they get to work 6 hours a day at like 6:30, but we have to work 40 hours a week still.
I personally don't think we need to reduce the hours to 6 hours, right? For those that are interested in only working 6 hours, drop me a note and happy to talk about it offline. I personally think we should be working, 35, 40 hours a week, no matter what. And some of us work more, and just you work on a different schedule, right? If for some reason you definitely want a reduced schedule, just let me know and we make accommodations, right? We've had colleagues that, due to pregnancies, etc., need additional time off, and we're a very flexible organization. For other colleagues that, for personal circumstances, they've gone to 20 hours a week, right? So if you think that you need to reduce your hours for Ramadan for a particular circumstances, let me know and happy to consider it. But generally, as a company policy, the expectation is you work the full time, right?
Okay, nice.
Other questions or thoughts?
So Salah, I had a question.
Yeah, go for
Actually,
it.
more of something that I wanted you to explain to everyone. So I think a general question that everyone has was related to the stock options you spoke about earlier. Like, can you elaborate a bit on that? Like, when would they mature? Because I think people have had a few questions. They've come up to me, and I've explained it to a few people. But maybe if you could just tell everyone, since everyone's over here, so just brief us a bit about it.
Yeah. So let me give you the overall perspective, right, on stock options. Typically, when you are mid to senior level, you get stock options in a company. The company I wanted to build was different, right? When I was like a junior person in a company, I used to look up at these people and I'd be like, oh, they're making all the money. And sometimes the hard work is done by the junior people, right? And so I felt like I wanted to make a more egalitarian company, right? Where it doesn't matter where you are on the pyramid, you're at the bottom, in the middle, or the large, everyone should share in the success. And so instead of saying only the top people or the mid people get options, my perspective was that everyone should get stock options and equity in the company. And that's what we instituted in January, that if you were with us before January, you got stock options, right? So that's number one. Number two is the way compensation works, and the way to think about it is that your compensation is salary plus bonus plus options. And that's your total compensation. So let me repeat. Your total compensation is your salary plus your cash bonus plus your stock options. And that's the way you should look at it. It's not just salary, right? If you're in it just for the money, then you may be in the wrong organization, very frankly, right? It's about the money you make every month, the bonus that we want to give you, cash bonus, and then stock options. And as long as we keep growing, right, you're going to get cash bonuses, right? God forbid there's a recession, or even in this COVID era, right, we were able to give bonuses, right? Sometimes the bonuses are a little less, but as long as you keep growing, the bonuses are going to be great, right? Like as an example, at Bank of America, my bonus this year was not that good because last year Bank of America didn't have a good year, so they reduced the bonus. Okay. In 5 years, 1 year it was a bad bonus year. But overall, the company shared their success with me and I got it, right? The junior people were, it's a different story. But so as long as the company is doing well, you're going to get cash bonus. So your salary, your cash bonus, and then your stock options. And stock options is something relatively new, I think, in Pakistan. I think some organizations do it, in a lower scale, but we're doing it across the board for all of our associates and employees here, right? And the way those options work is that it works over a 3-year vesting period. So let's use a very simple example, right? That let's say, someone got 9 stocks, right? 9 stocks means that at the end of this year, you're going to get 3. At the end of next year, you're going to get 3. And the year after that, you're going to get 3. And what happens is that at the end of this year, you're going to get additional stocks as part of your 2021 bonus, right? And so let's say you get another 18 this year because you've moved up in the organization, you did really well. So you're going to get 18. So the year after, the 3 that you got from this year, the 3 of the 9, you get in year 2, plus you get the 6 from the 18. So another way to simply think about it is that when you're with an organization for 3 years, your options really, really start vesting, right? And that's exactly what happened to me when I worked at JP Morgan, when I worked at Bank of America, that as you're there for more years, your options are more. Now, that's the positive side, right? Where you get all of this. The negative side is that you're tied to that company. So as an example, when I resigned from Bank of America, I left a lot of options on the table. I had many, many stock options that were due next year and the year after that I couldn't collect on because I decided to leave. And that's part of the motivation why Bank of America gives me these options, right? That it makes it hard for people to leave, and their interests, the idea is to align company and people interests together, right? And so I wanted to leave Bank of America 2 years ago, but it was hard. A year ago, it was hard. And this year I said, you know what, screw it, I'm done, right? But that's part of the thing, that you're sharing your success, but also you're tying the interests together with the company. Now, in companies like Bank of America that are public companies where the stocks are traded, it's easier to sell your stocks once you get them. For companies like ours, we're a private company, it's a bit more difficult to sell your stock. So that's another part of the question that you may have, that, okay, I got 3 this year, what do I do with them, right? And our goal over the next year is to figure that out. That what we'll try to do is, and I'm still trying to think through it, so don't write this down, is that we basically say that we may be able to buy back 5% of our stocks every year. And we have to think through that approach so that if some people want to sell, we can actually buy them back. And the price will continuously change, right? So the stocks were priced this year based on what the company was. But if the company doubles this year, the stock price should double, right? And that's another advantage, right? That this is where the interests are aligned. That if you grow, you get more stocks. If all of us grow, the company grows and the value of the stock goes up. And that's kind of the goal that we're trying to do. And eventually, the last point is that we want to also maybe eventually give dividends. That if you own stock in the company, then the company every year issues profit and the stockholders make money. And you as a stockholder will make money. The issue with that is that we're at a point in our journey, we're investing all of our profits. So all of this profit, we're investing back in the company for growth. So let's say we hit the $750,000 target this year. Next year, if we take profits out, we may only grow to $1 million or $1.25 million. But if we keep investing in the company, instead of taking profits out, we can grow to 1.5, maybe 2 million. So those are decisions that we have to kind of make along the way to figure out what's the best way for all of us, right? To kind of operate. So I know, Humna, a little bit of a complicated question, but do you think that answered what's on people's minds?
Yeah, I think it definitely cleared things more up for me. Like, I did have a good idea of this, but maybe everyone else can just let us know if that cleared things up on their side.
Yeah, I guess it clarifies, at least from my end.
Thanks, Samer. Chalo. Any questions on that front? Let me know. It's somewhat of a complicated exercise, right? But keep in mind it's a standard practice for companies here in the US, and even in the startup space, it's relatively a standard practice. So we're trying to implement that in Pakistan in a way that is standard. So we're not trying to be different. We're different in Pakistan for sure, but not different than the US, and make it kind of in line with that. All right, I know we're running a little over, but any last kind of question for anyone else? Okay. All right. So thank you again for joining and making the time. Hopefully you found it useful. For some of the new people, please know that, I have an open door policy, right? You have any issues, any concerns, I don't care if they're tiny or big, doesn't matter. Please know that you can call me up. You can send me a message on Teams anytime, right? So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any issues, right? That's my job, is to kind of to be there for you. Yeah. So thank you so.
Salah, just a minute. Salah, me and Salman has worked on the framework. Let us know when we have to present to everyone.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Delivery framework, we have done that because it was decided that today we have to present. Then let us know that when we have to do it.
Okay. Let's Asma, you and I connect offline and we can take it from there. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Chala. Thank you. Okay, so again, just to close it out, I have an open door policy, right? If you need anything from me, don't think of anything stupid, right? Sometimes, you get a feeling, oh my God, it's such a stupid question or it's a stupid concern. Trust me, I'm not going to think of it that way. I'm not going to judge you. And there's nothing stupid, right? It's if something's on your mind, then, it's legitimate, right? It's far from stupid. So know that I have an open door policy, and you can reach out to me anytime. Chale. All right. Have a great day, and we'll stay in touch. Hafiz.
Thank you, Salah.
Hafiz.
Thank you, Salah.
Hafiz. Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum. Salah, are you there?